So there was a big blow-up at the White House last week, and it all has to do with the fallout from the Epstein controversy. The Department of Justice and the FBI put together a memo, which Axios got their hands on, concluding they had no evidence that Epstein blackmailed powerful figures or kept a client list or was murdered. Then the administration released a surveillance video from outside Epstein's cell and said it was proof that no one had entered the room before he killed himself. But after inspecting the 10-hour video closely, internet sleuths found a missing minute, which added to the very conspiracy theory they were all trying to shut down. And then it was Dan Bongino, the deputy FBI director, who had initially found that video and said publicly that it was proof that Epstein hadn't been murdered. So when the missing minute became a thing, people in the Trump administration started blaming him for screwing the whole thing up. And that brings us to last Wednesday. You had Attorney General Pam Bondi, Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino, FBI Director Kash Patel, and White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles. They're in a meeting together. Bongino gets confronted with a News Nation article that said he and Patel wanted more Epstein info released, but were being held back. Now, Bongino denied leaking that, but this is what goes on in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
They all leak everything. So I guess it sounds like Pam Bondi confronted him about that. He denied leaking it. Now, in this Axios report from Mark Caputo, who we've had on the show before, he's got really great sources inside the Trump administration. They all talk to him. One person briefed on the heated discussion said, and when you see one person briefed on it, it could be one person who was briefed on it. It could be one of the players involved who told Mark Caputo this. It could be a lot of different things. But it said in the report, one person briefed on the heated discussion said, Pam said her piece, Dan said his piece. It didn't end on friendly terms. And then you've got sources from both sides trying to make their side the good guy or gal.
Right, of course.
So you had a lot of that going on in that report. Now, last Friday, apparently Bongino took a day off from work. Some people thought he quit. Administration officials, they say he's still on the job. In the Axios report, a source close to Bongino told Mark Caputo he ain't coming back. And on Friday, Laura Loomer reported that Bongino is seriously thinking about resigning. But then you had yesterday, the president, he was asked about Bongino outside of Air Force One, and he said this.
I spoke to him today. Dan Bongino, very good guy. I've known him a long time. I've done his show many, many times. And he sounded terrific, actually. No, I think he's in good shape.
So what I took away from all of this reporting and all of this drama, what happened here is you had people like Kash Patel and Dan Bongino who for years were telling their audiences that there was this big conspiracy theory
Keep
tied
an eye on
to
the Epstein files. This is big. Yeah.
Bombshells, going to bring down the Democrats, all that kind of stuff. And then they take these positions, and one of two things happened. They either saw what was available and all the documentation through all these different investigations, and they realized, well, we got that wrong. And that's what they're trying to communicate to the public, or they're covering something up. It's one or the other.
Or they looked at it and said, oh, my gosh, we can't let this out to the public.
Yeah.
Or all hell will break loose,
Right.
which is what a lot of people think is happening.
Yeah, they're covering it up. So it's one or the other.
Yeah.
There's no third option here. And then you have Attorney General Pam Bondi. She goes out and makes all these promises as Attorney General that there's this and there's that.
That's
and
on
wait
my
till you see
desk.
all of this. Yeah. And she just keeps going on cable news and promising all this stuff. She does this big stunt at the White House with right-wing influencers.
And gives them those binders that say Epstein Files Phase 1 as if there's more coming.